recording. Hello my friends, welcome to the Micromotor Workshop. After flying a couple hundred packs through the tiny hoop, I'd like to share a couple of things I learned down that path. The first thing that I suggest to do is to reinforce these struts where they meet the hoops. I like to use Keratine glue for that because you can just reheat it. If it breaks, just reheat it and put it back together. Together with a SMD heat gun set to around 300 degrees Celsius. Be careful when applying the heat directly to the already glued frame, because 300 degrees will start to melt the plastic of the frame as well. But if you apply it carefully, it's good enough to re-glue this frame again and again without adding more weight in the shape of more glue. So here's how it looks if it's glued. I glue the two outer parts, the two outer struts. The inner one doesn't seem to break, so I'm not wasting any glue there. Just these outer two parts. And be careful to only apply the glue from the bottom. The props run very closely above the struts, so as soon as you get a little bit of glue above the struts, then the props will clip on it. So only a little drop from the bottom, and that will keep the struts in place. Next thing, it might be a little difficult to get the motors out of the frame without bending the prop. If you just reach in here and try to pull it out, it's very likely that you bend the prop or bend and break these struts here. So what I like to do is take two tools, our wire cutter and a thermostat, also known as forceps or roach clip. So a little tiny plier thing with very fine tips at the end. So at first, take the wire cutter and pull the plugs out. So don't cut the wires, just go with the wire cutter under the rim of the plug and pull it out. All four of them. And then the forceps tips go into the little gap here, and then you push it apart to push the motor out. And then it's out far enough to get your fingers in there and pull out the motor. And they can go to all the others. Well, you need to harvest the prop first, so prop's still useful. So again, wire cutter between the lever a little bit and take the prop off. So once you're done with that, new motors in, new props in. There's different cameras what you can use for this quad. I've been using until now for most of my flights the Spectrum VA 2500. The disadvantage of this thing is that it requires at least 5 volt power input, and we don't have that. We only have a single cell, so I have cobbled a 5 volt step-up regulator to the back, which adds another 0.8 gram of weight and at least another half an hour of fiddly work. So I avoided that on all the last builds, and I'm using this Cricket cam from Ready-Made RC, which is pretty much the same thing what you can buy on other places. I forgot exactly what the name is, but yeah, I like to buy them from Ready-Made RC. They come with some extra case around that. Fishing it out of the bin here. So it says, you can read this, Ready-Made RC Cricket cam. I think the camera doesn't focus that close in. And you just bend these two prongs off at the side and then push it out. It's a little bit fiddly, but you just work it out with a screwdriver from all ends, and it'll come out nicely and saves you another. Where's the scale? Where did it go? Come on, where did the scale go? Used to be here. So yeah, it's how did it get here? So removing the plastic case from the Cricket cam saves you another 0.6 gram. And then I reinvest those 0.6 gram that I just saved by putting a camera mount on there. So I print little profiles like that. It's basically just like a little shoe at the bottom of the camera, bringing it to a 15-degree angle. This just gets hot glued to the bottom of the cam and then hot glued to the top of the flight controller. Very important when you glue the camera on, make sure it sits exactly forward and exactly in the middle. Otherwise, it will be a little bit confusing if you have the camera pointing to the side and every time you pitch forward, it goes a little bit to one or the other side. So very important to make sure that it centers exactly, as well as the orientation and position needs to be exactly in the middle. Otherwise, it'll be awkward if you fly it. And then a single solder joint connecting the camera to the flight controller. So I just solder the two power wires to the camera or to the voltage regulator in this case. Just solder them to the top of the flight controller. Make sure you get the polarity right by looking at the colors of the wire feeding the power into the bottom of the board. And as you can see, this one is one which I didn't hot glue, and here, not sure if that's visible on the camera, this strut has broken off and it still flies, but then you hear it rattling during flight. So as soon as it's rattling, I bring it back in and hot glue stuff back together. So, so much to that. I'll make a cut here. Read a little bit in the chat room and then move on to the next part. So, I have not heard of the Pico, me neither. So yes, a Japanese Torii gate. Video switches are sick, yep. It's a fun thing to play around with. Yeah, Micro MWC, it's still one of my favorites, especially because it's so small and, well, I just know all its issues already, but it can be a little bit of a pain to work with. Pilsner Popper has been living in Japan for 10 years and would love to have a Tori in the garden. I think it's a great symbol. What's the brush? What's this? Do you fly your Reggie Shark on level or acro? Well, the Reggie Shark, it's good to fly in acro mode, even though you need a lot of space too. That heat gun nozzle looks used and abused. Now, does it? Yeah, I think it's just corroding from being hot. And yeah, at some stage I, by accident, that's why this glue stick still looks so deformed. I, by accident, touched the glue stick with the heat gun, so then the stick stuck to the heat gun and everything started smelling, stinking and burning. So that's part of the reason why it looks like that. So then I just scratched it all off, opened all the windows and let it run for an hour. So yeah, still good. It's fighting hard. So, flight control, yeah, Furious FPV. What's that? Pico BLX micro flight controller. Everything changes. Wow, let's get ready for that. The first and only 20 by 20 millimeter platform with F3 chip. Yeah, it does not have ESCs, I believe. So, I don't know. What's everything then? So, a roach clip. You catch cockroaches with those ones, I see. Yep. Where's the brushless version of the Pico? I think that's it, right? So it's a brushed one? Was I wrong? So no brushed version yet. That's what I was thinking. Holy crushed antenna. Which one? My antennas? No, they actually... Oh, yes, I should mention that. I should talk about the antenna. Well, let's do that. Oh, it's already recording. So... let me talk a little bit about the antenna. So... as you might see, this antenna looks a little bit different, like a normal 5.8 gigahertz antenna. I'm not sure if I have a normal looking one. Maybe this one here. So usually these lobes point upwards much more than on this one. So that of course happens when you crash them. But these are all new, so I just built them yesterday. So, and what I like to do is to take my trusted surgery instrument and carefully start bending the lobes of the antenna downwards so that they don't get a sharp kink where they get bent when you crash them, but I bent them carefully piece by piece so they form like a more round shape, and then also bent the bottom ones to take a little bit of tension out, and the goal is to get more like a flat surface on the bottom, so if it, or on the top, so if you hit it upside down, the force is distributed amongst all the lobes, and doesn't break them off, because if you don't do that, if you don't bend and glue them, then they will break off here in the middle. So once they're all bent down, I cut off a piece of hot glue, place this on the middle here, and then heat it with the heat gun until the whole glue blob runs down the stem of the antenna, and I let it run down the front side of the PCB all the way into the inner of so between the two PCBs, so that the whole little PCB holding the antenna above the main board gets a little reinforcement as well. Because the next point of breakage, after the antenna has broken enough up here, if you keep hitting it, at some stage the whole little piece of PCB holding the antenna up will just break off right above the main part of the circuit board. So that's why I like to run the glue all the way down into the innards of the camera, to have one piece of glue reinforcing the whole thing. I usually end up using around 1/3 of a gram of hot glue to reinforce the antenna. And then once it's all put together, around another 1/2 gram of hot glue to glue the whole antenna and the whole camera onto the quad. So all in all, around 0.7 to 0.8 gram of hot glue onto each of them. Who sells alien flight controllers? That's what I'd like to know too. What's up, fella Tronatron? Welcome. What's too funny, Madman? You mean the antenna butchering? So Mullet says he's ready. That was 34. That was 4 minutes ago. Upside down. Flemin Malister. What's the all-up weight on the tiny hoop? So this depends on what camera you use, how much hot glue you use, and what battery you use. So this build without battery weighs, that can't be right, weighs 19.8 gram. And then depending on what battery you use, the lightest ones, what I found working well, are the 150 milliamp MyLipos. That adds another 4.4 gram. That brings it to 24.14 gram. So that's the lightest version of this thing I have managed to produce so far, 24 gram. So yeah, who's going to be the first to sell alien flight controllers on Mars? Yeah, I think I'm pretty good in the run for that, but we'll see if someone beats me to it. But yeah, I will announce further details when the trucks are rolling. And yes, Pilsner Popper, taking it away. Flying these things will be part of my today's exercise as well. So my Inductrix battery connector gets a ton of debris that keeps me from powering up. I don't understand that. So say more, say more. I will say more soon, but I can tell you things are moving and things are looking very, very good in Alien Land. But as usual, I don't like to tell things before I know them exactly. But it won't be long. It won't be long. But for today, let's continue flying tiny hoops. So they are 6mm motors, Madman. They are. I didn't think there would be enough to carry FPV gear, and I'm not sure how much actually was added through these ducts, but 6mm motors are apparently able to carry 4.5 grams of FPV gear quite well. So one of the things what I wanted to do today is give all of these little guys I built yesterday a little test flight before I take them to the track tomorrow and pass them on, and use that chance to also compare the different cameras. I'm not really sure, I'm not convinced in terms of effort that it makes any sense to get these VA2500 Spectrum cameras. I think they are very similar to these, whatever these others are, which are probably all the same, whether you buy them from Banggood, Hobby King, or Ready-Made RC. But yeah, I want to see if there's any difference in how the cameras work. I can't fly them together at the same time, although this is part of the reason why I have some larger copters flying around here, because I plan to put multiple cameras on there at the same time and then compare results. But so far I will just fly them one after the other and then compare the footage afterwards. So let's get moving. I have on a different channel, I have my receiver hooked up. Sitting right next to me here. Receiver on a stick. Couple batteries. Binding these suckers is always a problem. I'm not sure if that's a problem of the transmitter or of the receivers.
Welcome to OpenTX.
I always like to poke the antenna up. I'm not sure if you can see that in the camera. The antenna needs to poke up for best range. So at first, like a, what's the word for that? A a flight to set the baseline. Yeah, I haven't put my voice pack onto this Tyrannus because it needs a different voice pack than which goes onto the regular Tyrannus. So you need to change all the file names. I've been too lazy for that. Yeah, I don't know where the DHL guy is. He will come today, I'm sure. I checked the tracking already, and it says picked up by DHL driver at 6:57 this morning. Yeah, so let's see. Of course, it's blinking. So why should it work straight out of the box? So I'm not really sure what to do to make them bind. I just turn on and off the module and press the bind button a couple times. But you know, yesterday I just turned on a whole range of them at the same time and tested how they react, and they all react different. So it's an issue with the flight controller, I'm sure. Somehow wonky. It's the antenna. I'm using it as a crosshair. How am I denying this? I'm not denying that I'm using a crosshair antenna. It's still not binding. Yeah, that's what's happening every single time. And for some reason, then suddenly binds. Works. So I did quite a few changes to the curves on the transmitter. And one of them is that I don't let the throttle curve touch the bottom or the top, because there's quite a bit of slack at the bottom of the throttle curve, so you need to raise the stick quite a bit before something starts happening at all. And I want to have that at the very bottom of the stick. And then at the top end of the stick, you have some weird things happening as well, because so the top 10-15% of the throttle curve, they make the quad kind of go a little crazy. So that's why my throttle curves look like this. Oh, damn it. So it does not touch the top and it does not touch the bottom, and it has a little bit of a weird shape in between to make the feeling of that as linear as possible. So then also I changed the pitch curve to something a bit weird. This is the pitch curve that I'm using. And that means in pitch stick centered, it already has a pretty good forward bias. So the rest of the forward stick is just changing that forward angle, because otherwise it's quite jerky, and you see people flying around like this all the time because the resolution of the pitch is quite rocky. So by spreading this out over the stick, I get a lot better resolution across the usable pitch range, because pitching back, who needs that? So hovering is still possible, but pulling all the way back, but it's almost impossible with that setup to fly backwards, because it's getting so touchy there. But who wants to fly that backwards? And then for the aileron, I add 15% of Expo to mellow out the center stick a little bit, and then I add a lot of Expo. Let me see how much to the rudder. So I'm adding 34%. It's just because I missed 35 probably. 34% of Expo on the rudder. Oh, no.
2 minutes.
So, how did you like it? I better go and pick it up. So, I didn't find it. Gotta rig up my quadcopter search tool. Oh, hang on, let me look at the video and we can see where it is. Seems to look straight against the fence. So what I'm using is a portable monitor with a directional antenna. And that doesn't show anything right here, but if I get closer it will show me. So I'll be back. So one of the problems with the boards is once you crash them hard enough, they somehow lose their the accelerometer calibration, I think, is getting off. So it was flying at an angle all the time, and even if I counted it full with the stick, it just went back to level. So it's almost impossible to fly it at that in that condition. But there's another 90 seconds back on the clock. So let's try that again.
One minute.
So where did it land? I ran out of battery. Okay, over there. Oops, there's a noise. Where's the noise coming from? Oh, you shouldn't put the transmitter onto the mic preamp. It's just a note to myself. Do not put broadcasting stuff onto the broadcasting stuff. So that was that. That was the VA 2500 camera. I'm just going to fly one pack each through the rest of them to make sure they all work. So gather them, I'm sorry, all of them over here. Ski goggles. Belay ski goggles. It's Cinemizer OLED goggles with a luminaire visor shield implanted into some Belay ski mask goggle things. The best thing you can buy, or you cannot buy, because it's discontinued. But someone recently told me on Reddit that Cinemizer is coming back with some good goggles. I think these are the best goggles you can buy. But there's a little bit of a personal bias in there too, I admit. Because I like smaller field of view. Before I got into FPV, I thought a large field of view is an absolute must, but I have several goggles with larger FOV, like the Dominator HD2 and the Headplay HD and the Sky Zone 3D, and I don't like all of them. This one is better. So, moving on. This is 150 milliamp too. So this is now the, whatever the other camera is called, FX979T or something like this. Hobby King Quantum Elite, or my favorite, ready-made RC Cricket Cam. Image looks good, but crap, it's not bound. So same orgy again. Yes, the goggles are very comfortable, although I actually think the fit of the Dominator HD2 is very nice, and yeah, well, from the Headplay HD as well. So in stock form, these Cinemizers absolute suck in terms of fitment, because they're like thin goggles, glasses with temples that go behind your ear. They're not made to fly FPV. They are made to watch videos, even though I don't get how people want to watch videos. It's just getting uncomfortable watching a movie. Well, usually you have, I don't know, drinks, chips, party around you. I imagine if you, I don't know, watch a movie. I don't watch movies, so I'm getting bored anyway, even if I'm watching this on a large screen. So scrap that. I might not be the judge for video goggles to watch movies and shit, because I'm getting bored of that anyway. So it's not binding again. Switch it on and off, and it's not binding again, so same thing again. Switch the module off, switch the module on, switch the quad off, switch the quad on. I always leave the transmitter on when changing batteries. That increases the chance a lot that it continues working, but now changing quads all the time does not seem to help. So what I'm doing to make this work is I turn off the module, just go into the mode, external receiver, PPM, turn it off, turn it back on, and then I flick that switch here, which is soldered to the bind button of the module, and sometimes it works, but yeah, I've kind of given up on trying to figure out what exactly it is, because all these flight controllers, see, now it worked, bound. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it stopped blinking. So now when it probably wasn't calibrated properly because it was just sitting on this little box here. Now I plug it off, plug it back in, put it on a level surface, and haha, it bound again, and it's working now. So let's switch that and fly this around for a pack. Oh, it's very windy.
30 seconds.
Crap, I didn't reset the timer. Oh, let's do that. Where are you, my chicken? Did you hide?
2 minutes.
No one here. Oh, damn. You're out here. You're out. Something's wrong. Going for a walk. So, yeah, the best thing about this is, I'm sorry, I put the transmitter again on the amplifier. Yeah, the best thing is how many crashes it takes. I think that was just my mistake, but yeah, let's just try again to make sure it's still working properly.
One minute.
Where are they?
Thirty seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds is a lie. I'm out of battery. Yeah, that was it. I think this one qualifies. Next one. Yeah, timer set for 2 minutes, 15 seconds. But yeah, I'm not always getting that. Just by leaving it powered on a little bit and mucking around with this already detracts from the flight time. So this is a 175 milliamp one. So binding, of course, it doesn't. Yeah, so what I do to the timer is I set the timer to the trainer switch, pull the switch, goes back 2 minutes, 15 seconds. How it works. Good. Next one. Yes, I'm using 150, 175 milliamp and 205 milliamp batteries. So let's see how long this lasts. Nothing happens. Why not? I don't know. It says it's bound. I turn it off. It goes away. What the heck's happening with you? Hoop. Yeah, it's expensive. That's right, Pedro. The key here is that it's simple. That's why so many people buy it, because people have more money than patience. Yeah, but you know, the reason why I leave the goggles on the face is because then they stay warm and don't fog up when I fly them. But yeah, it's better to have them sitting on the face, that's right. No, I didn't leave one of the others on, and if I would have, that that wouldn't change things. Yesterday I powered up 8 of them at the same time, and just for giggles let them fly all at the same time. Works. So, but this one just doesn't work, so it's not bound yet. You probably see me doing this quite a bit now. Exactly, ready to fly. That's how it starts. Get them while they're young. Doesn't bind, holy. And then suddenly it does, for no apparent reason. So try again. 2 minutes, 15 seconds is the goal.
Two minutes.
2 minutes, she says.
One minute.
Oh, come down, man.
Thirty seconds. $20.
Oh, did you see that? Well, I flew through that gap there. Wow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So, that one qualifies. See you later, radar. Thanks for joining. So, yeah, we made it through the gate. Madman is asking if I see lag in the video feed. No, I assume you see lag, but that I hope shouldn't bother you. So do you see the video, the FPV footage actually smooth, or is it like all choppy and all over the place? I mean, I take it straight out of the receiver and view it straight in the goggles, and the other output goes into the mixer and goes through the whole loop of digital processing. So yeah, tell me, do you actually see smooth video? So, yeah, Jonathan, I don't know how that happened. I somehow flew backwards through this little gap here. Yeah, impossible. Impossible! I was already on my way to take the goggles off, but see there? Survived. So it seems choppy. Yeah, so I think it can possibly be choppier than what I see because it's obviously getting compressed afterwards. So maybe the frame rate isn't the same or is lower than what I see. But yeah, I expect actually that you see what Pilsner Popper says, slight compression loss, but it should be smooth. As you know, if that video here is smooth, the other one should be smooth as well, but a lot more motion in the picture obviously will give the compressor a lot more to work. So if I look at the bit rate, it actually changes quite a bit. So if I change the image to black or to show my screen, which has a lot less movement, the frame rate goes down. So it's more of a task for the compressor to chew through moving footage. But yeah, it's just an experiment. At some stage, we want to transmit FPV footage live, so, you know, preparing for the future. Next one. The only live FPV I have ever seen, yeah. Did anyone else do that before? I remember I've been doing this quite some time ago, and you guys told me it's terrible. So, this one needs to have its channel configured properly. So, one of the nice things about this camera here is that there's some LEDs at the back which indicate the channel and the band. So even though it's just a one button press action here, it's very nice. So I usually prefer dip switches because then I know what channel it'll be set to. But with this, there's two LEDs, or actually two rows of LEDs. The top row, blue, indicates the band, and then the lower one indicates the channel it's on. So that means even without looking at a spectrum analyzer or receiver, you'll see what channel it's on. So this one runs on 5860. Yes, that's footage coming out of the Clearview receiver. Going into a CVBS or analog or composite, or we want to call it. It goes into a converter which converts it into SDI, and then it goes into a Blackmagic ATEM television studio, and then goes into a live stream broadcast dongle. From there it goes over Wi-Fi into my phone, and and from there it goes over 4G into the public internet. So I'd be surprised if that would be working good. But yeah, you know, I gotta start somewhere. So next one.
Minutes.
Oh wow, did you see that? I don't know what happened here. Wow. I don't know, I'm still flying. What the heck just happened? I guess I have to watch the footage afterwards to find out about that. But let's, for now, enjoy the ride. Something is wrong with this one. I better land. Try again.
1 minute.
I don't know what happened there. But yeah, once you crash, you can't trust it anymore. It somehow messes with the sensors. just happened? Ah, now it's back to normal. Oops.
Seconds.
Damn, I think I'm out of reception. Alright, tumbled all the way down the yard. Another walk of shame, my friends. Yeah, so this is all level mode. I can fly this in acro mode, but the frequency of crashes will be greatly reduced, increased. So in acro mode, I'm already happy when I manage to leave the room without crashing into everything on the way. It's really difficult. But yeah, if you can do this, more power to you. How big are the ducts? You want me to measure them? Binding pain again. Oh, it's flying. So yeah, I wasn't really sure about this one because I crashed it too early, so let's try again.
Minutes.
Alright, I'll let that count. That's good enough. Where did you go? So yeah, qualifies. Yeah, Pilsner Popper is actually having a good point. I think the reception of the first camera, the VA 2500, which I was flying into the chicken coop, seems to have better penetration, but I don't worry so much about this because the receiver is sitting right next to me here, and this is going through a metal structure and a couple of walls to get to the chicken coop. So if I actually want to have better reception, I just put the receiver outside and it will work much better. Yeah, other receivers will not work at all. Goes through one brick wall and tabula rasa, looks like this. But yeah, this one goes through a couple walls, even with a 25 milliwatt transmitter. So I'm not sure, was it full now? Damn. Switching on my power supply or to check on the battery. Doodle-it. So let me see, is this battery full or not? It says 3.9. So this one here, 4.17, and next one. What? No binding drama? Oh, yeah, of course. I want to say, can just get away with an easy one. No. Same drama. Just blinking, going into bind mode, not binding. And then suddenly it does. So here we go. It's getting fuller on the qualifier table. Oops.